Ladies and gentlemen.
Hi Trev, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing? You're right.
Yeah, I'm very good. Apologies for the little minor technical hiccups that we experienced
It,
earlier, but we
it's been a
are
week for
finally
the internet.
together, which is always good. Always lovely to see you.
Mm,
You're bringing a brand new piece of work to the festival this year. I love the idea. It's completely in my wheelhouse. I'm extremely excited to see this in the hands of the Mr. Trevor because I just know it's just like, oh, there's the glove, there's the hand. It just seems perfect. So,
Yeah.
what kind of brought you slowly to this piece of work? What sort of inspired you? What's the sort of structure that you're playing around with? Have you got any interesting collaborators that you're working with? Just kind of fill us in with where you're at present and what you kind of what was the things that kind of went ding 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 in your
Yeah.
head, kind of go, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that sort of really came into my head, and this was quite a few years ago, because having been involved with the Improvathons quite often, I always thought it would be a great idea to go with my history of great ideas to do a show called the Improvatron, and it would be completely sci-fi based. What form that took way back when that word popped into my head, I had no idea. And then over the years, having watched some other improv shows, such as the Herald of Galactus from Mark Mayer, where he creates a completely brand new comic book character from initial inception through to modern day blockbusters, and it's amazing. There's examples on YouTube and taking some inspiration from the amazing crew of Ostentatious. So that sort of lost Austin classic that's been rediscovered, but having fun with it as well. It's a tribute and a pastiche of the sort of sci-fi genre because there's some amazing works out there. There's some like really classic themes and literature that will last forever. There's some terrible stuff out there as well, which doesn't really deserve to see the light of day. And there's some very problematic authors who were once hailed as literary geniuses. So it would be interesting to maybe we can see a little bit of that, the author's downfall or something like that. Um, in terms of people be collaborating with, it's a solo show. I've never done a fully solo show before. So maybe, well, I suppose you could call the lighting designer a collaborator of sorts. But yeah, it's just going to be me, the stage, maybe some sound effects and some lighting changes. But on the whole, it's just going to be me doing some silly voices for half an hour, 35 minutes, however long the show is. And so I'll be drawing upon my uh, character voice skill set, which is something I've been honing for a few years now.
Yeah, you definitely have. So are you going to have anyone's eyes and ears on it? Is Ange going to help you with kind of the construction, or are you
There will be people who I trust to have a look at it. They don't know that yet, but I will definitely be reaching out to because the idea has only existed in my head so far. I do need to get it on its feet and just see if it works. I suppose the acid test will be at the festival itself, but I think it's got in terms of like the inspirations. There's definitely got legs there, and it's not filling me with a sense of dread like this might have done 10 years ago. I think I'm a seasoned enough improviser to go, okay, I sort of know what I need at this point. I'll need to move the story on here, or I can just step out and go, that scene went a bit awry. Let's just cross that out. Things like that. Put ideas in place to help me when I'm on stage and figure out exactly what it is I'll be asking for from the audience because that's the audience will be the co-authors of this lost sci-fi masterpiece.
yeah,
Masterpiece.
the rediscovered something or other gives you such license to play within that kind of world and that genre that it
Yeah.
kind of almost allows you to have a freedom that perhaps other works which are slightly more structured, because it is obviously literary genre based, but
Yeah.
it still allows you to have a playground in which to kind of invent and have some fun with it.
Exactly. The sci-fi genre, like it's not all about, spaceships and things blowing up and stuff like that. There can be some subtle, beautiful themes in it, and the challenge there is to emulate those sort of themes and the writing there as well. Because I do want to make it seem as though at times that I'm reading from a book, that it not the entire show, but just maybe there's elements where the authors maybe sat down to write a bit, and hopefully I'll weave a bit of lyrical magic, and actually people go, "Huh, is that from a book?" I'm like, it's not, but it could be. This is all, preparation for my, sci-fi Magnus Opus, which will be out next year at, Orbit Publishing. I'm kidding, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, lots of these projects kind of start and then they have the spin-off, which is the book, the podcast, the this, that, and the other. Because I was thinking, oh, wouldn't it be amazing?
Baseball's the flamethrower.
Yeah. So I was thinking, well, you it would be great. You write these books, and then almost in that kind of meta way, someone then takes that and then actually stages or makes a new piece of work out of that piece of work.
It, like I said, it belongs to the audience, but I said it out loud, so it belongs to me. It's my copyright.
Yeah. No, what I mean is that almost like you have these fan groups where they write their
Oh
own
yeah.
responses to X, Y, and Z. It's almost like you could build this whole world around this character of yours and this,
And
you know,
fan fiction
exactly.
could be an area that we go into,
Oh, yeah.
where because that's how Twilight started as fan fiction for 50, no, 50 Shades of Grey started because of Twilight fan fiction. So there you go. But who knows? Maybe we'll see whatever the book is. We see the fanfic version of that, where invariably two characters will have sex. But how I will portray that on stage, I don't know yet.
You just need some dolls. You need some sort
Oh,
of well, the action figure is huge in kind of science fiction. So it might be I guess,
yeah.
it's not it's sort of in the in that it's in that world, isn't it? Of, I remember collecting the Jedi figures and this, that, and the other, and then it was then what was the next set I collected? Small Soldiers, which
Oh
is
yeah.
a kids' film, which is but turns out they're worth a lot of money now. They're not
Hey, listen,
they're not packaged, they've been played with, but
was it what's the name of the Archer? Is it Archer?
yeah.
And yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
God,
they've
long
got
time ago.
and then they disappear on a tiny yacht to this island where they can live peacefully,
Yeah.
which is beautiful. And an early Kirsten Dunst movie as well.
Yes,
She
yeah, I
plays
remember.
she plays the young girl. But it was one of those films where as an adult and watched it and went, this is an adult film. They put weapons grade chips into figurines. And you kind of go,
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably not far from the truth if we think about
Yeah,
America
Predator
and its
drones being controlled by PlayStation remotes.
yeah, exactly. You know, the world moves on very, very, very rapidly. So we
Yeah.
kind of go. Um, so have you any plans other than as obviously as part of the festival, but have you got any plans you're going to see how it goes here, then possibly because I think it's an almost um perfect vehicle to take elsewhere. Like it's almost set up for Comic Cons or almost like I just really love kind of thinking about there's a really fantastic idea, and then you think about, oh, where it could it go? Who's its audience? Where might it
Yeah.
exist elsewhere?
I have no plans. I want to see if it works first, and if it does, then we can take it onwards. Like I say, it's a because it's a one-man show with minimal tech and zero set. It can be it's eminently tourable. So if it goes well, maybe see if Brighton Fringe, or dare I say the Edinburgh Fringe. It could go anywhere if I can be bothered. That,
Oh,
that's the thing. It might be one and done. it might be the start of a 10-year run. I just don't know. That's the thing. It might be that I say people come and say that was a great thing, but if have you tried doing this? It's like, well, listen, if you want to do it, then pass it on. Like at the start of every improv scene, I don't know where it's gonna go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do hope this is happening in 10 years' time, and we're talking in we're talking in lift 2035,
Yeah,
when we're slightly older, and this is the 10th anniversary of, blah 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 blah.
I'll have
Um,
a bionic eye.
yeah, exactly. Well, the Google Glasses thing, I was thinking, oh, you kind of go, oh,
It's scary.
there's a big thing, where you could kind of go, oh, okay, so we could actually see the audience and you're interviewing them, and we can see them in the little. It's the future, my friend.
Oh yeah.
I think there's a lot there. So in terms of, because obviously you're a performer, voiceover artist, and do loads and loads and loads of other stuff. What improv stuff have you been up to recently? Have you been up to? Have you any shows you've seen, or any workshops you've taken part in, or what have you been
A
up to?
lot of the improv, it's been practical in the sense that I've been employing it in, as you said, voiceover work because I do a lot of voiceovers for games, and a lot of the time they'll have three lines and say, right, we need 20 lines, but can you just work around these sort of three? And we need four different accents for each different thing. So a lot of it has been sort of on the job, practical stuff where um giving offers to the people behind the glass and saying and just basically riffing for an hour, and then they'll go, cool, thanks very much. I was like, was anything good there? Oh yeah, we've got loads. Great, lovely, thank you very much. So there's a couple of games which I can't say what they are because I don't know what they are. Because they don't tell you, they just give you code names or project titles.
Right.
So a few of those I've were recorded late last year, so hopefully they'll be out at some point this year if they'll tell me. But yeah, so practically is that. Improv wise, I've not seen a lot of stuff recently, which is very bad, terrible, bad Trev.
Did you go and
It's just
see a School of Night?
yes, yes, I did. Well done. You were there as
I
well.
was there.
I don't remember what happened last week. Bear in mind what happened years ago. No, school night, they were absolutely amazing. And I've worked with a few of them at previous improvathons, and I believe they're attending the next lift as well, which is amazing. And that was just to see them perform so effortlessly in a genre which strikes fear into the heart of a lot of people, Shakespeare and Chaucer and all the other ones that they do. It truly was a masterclass of just if you know your stuff, if you as they say in Hobo Kiosk, if you know your jazz and you come onto the stage with confidence and purpose, then you make it look easy. So that's an element that I will try and embody when I'm doing my shtick. With I know sci-fi in and out. I know story. Um, so hopefully, I just got to walk on the stage and with confidence and aplomb, and bring a little bit of the school of night, sprinkle some of their magic on it, and yeah, ah, every time I see them, they're just very very good. If you
Yeah.
get to see them, School of Night appearing at Liverpool Improv Festival this April.
No one knows that yet.
Well,
I'll have to,
you can just beep all that stuff out,
or I'm
whatever it
just
is
gonna
I
have to
just said.
release it after the 12th. I'll cut. But yeah, no, I'm extremely excited to have the opportunity to host them on their in their 20th anniversary, which is
Mm,
which is going to be and then Oliver's doing a workshop as well, which will be really cool. So
fabulous, yeah.
yeah, in terms
I'm
of
appearing in a Doctor Who show with him.
uh yes, we're the one that Paula does, is it?
No, it is again talking about fan fiction. It's an amateur production, but the cast crew and all that they're very I don't know dedicated, and they've already got Sophie Aldred on board as a guest star. So there's myself. I found out who I'm playing the other day, which is very fun, and I know Oliver's involved as well. So that's going to be fabulous. And yeah, we just need Dan Starkey to show up, and he can be another Doctor Who person. That would be amazing.
Yeah, the because I know the thing that you're talking about, because I think Paula Sims is involved in some way, shape, or form, or has been in the
Oh,
past. So yeah, no, I've caught a couple of them previously when Paula shares them with us. So she's she's she when she was telling me about it, she's so excited, so excited, a bit like yourself, kind of going, oh yeah. So yeah, okay, so obviously you've been knocking around the Liverpool scene for quite a while. Um,
yep.
what have you noticed in terms of, because obviously you ran um your own improv company, you ran, obviously brought huge amount of improv into the city, um, and then obviously stepped away. Then we had sort of pandemic and stuff. In terms of the last 25 years, the last 20 years or so, um, where do you see, because we went through a point where there was very little improv happening in the city,
Mhm.
and it seems to be there are quite a few groups emerging, or a lot more classes and stuff taking place. What would be your advice to those new folk who are sort of taking the step into the improv world? What would be the thing that you'd kind of go, what are your top three tips?
Um, for people attending the classes or running the classes.
Uh, those who are starting their improv journey, so those attending.
Okay. If so, I would say first of all, if you're planning on going to an improv class, well done. It can be a scary thing if you're going on your own, and you're saying, I'm gonna go to this place. Excuse me. If you're attending on your own, it's it can be scary. So you're already ahead by taking a brave step. You don't have to. I'm going to be sort of cautionary. You don't have to stick with the first group that you find. For whatever reason, there might be personality clashes. Hopefully there shouldn't be. But you are allowed to shop around. You're not stuck in the one improv group, because there's quite a lot of choice these days. Find what gels with you and your personality. Um, that being said, when you do attend any improv, just give it a go. Uh, Try it out. Embrace the fun and the situations that you're in. Um, Nowadays, there's a huge amount of uh, what's the word? Safeguarding that takes place or should take place in any workshop. So you should be made to feel safe. You should be made to feel welcomed, and you should be feeling respected. So give that back. Be generous in your scenes. If you don't understand something, ask a question. That's totally fine. But just be there. Be there. And if you don't want to, if you're a bit unsure, you just say, listen, I just want to sit at the back, or I just want to audit for a little while, and then go at your own pace. You shouldn't have to do anything you are not comfortable doing. That was about 19 different things in one, but I think it all boils down to uh, look after yourself when you go into these things. Uh, if you are attending, give it the beans and find your tribe. There. That's my three things.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I think they were brilliant. Because obviously, those who are watching, Trev came and took part earlier in the year with us as part of a panel member for an improv mix-up that we hosted, and the most sage-like advice was, "Don't be a dick," which I love as a point of as a piece of advice. You
Improv golden rule, I would say.
know, generally in life, don't be a dick, which is which is very sage-like advice. Um, we're doing another one coming up quite soon, which we'd love you
Nice.
to have come along and just socialize and stuff, we're going to be doing a little bit of a kind of previews of the festival and things like that. So if you're around, it'd be good to kind of I'll drop you the dates and stuff and let you know. But it'd be good to kind of come and do an in person with Trev Fleming, kind of come and talk about your work
Yeah.
and what you've got coming up and stuff like that. Because what we've got in terms of, we've obviously got a local triple bill, which Trevor is part of, which would be really good. Obviously, we're extending the festival to an additional day, so we're really, really pleased to have really three really great pieces of local work to launch the festival. No pressure, Trev, but we know you will deliver.
Am I on first?
No, no, you most definitely are not. Um, so yeah, but we're super excited to sort of have you once again, because you've kind of been a mainstay and a
Yeah.
driving force within the local community for a couple of decades now. So it's just going to be lovely to have you bring your brand new piece of work, a world
Yeah.
premiere. I remember 2 years ago when you brought your I'm going to do my 45, where Trev produced the most amazing performance with a load of brilliant improvisers in support, kind of going, here's Trev did 45 characters in 45 minutes. And I sat there and just went, wow, I don't know how you do it. So I was
I had a
super.
very strong crew of improvisers helping me along the way. So,
uh, I
but
think
yeah,
I think you're hiding your light under a bushel there. I think you drove the whole thing. It was super impressive, and one of those things which will live long in the memory. So, have you any plans for 46, 47?
I don't like to plan. If the situation arises, yes. Um, uh, the thing with the 42 as it was 45, it started as a charity project. I had the idea to do, hey, I was on a night out one time and I was doing a half marathon and I thought it'd be a great idea to do 500 characters in 500 minutes on the same day as doing a half marathon. That never transpired because I got talked off the ledge because of for that. So I ended up doing 300 characters. It's three in 300 minutes, and I think I would need to get back up to match fitness to do that. But I think who knows? I think I do want to do an event like that again for charity, because I like endurance improv. There's an inherent challenge in it, and a sense of community, and a sense of wonderment that comes with having an audience in for a prolonged period of time. So watch this space. I'm not going to say no, but it's I would like to do something like that again, and it's just about whether I get the space and time to do it.
Well, it was one of the most
Space and
impressive.
time. Ooh, like a
Ooh,
continuum.
ooh,
Yes.
segue. I no, it was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen, and what was such simple format, but very often the simple things are the most effective. If it's too complicated or it's too convoluted or this, that, and the other, I was
Yeah.
just like kind of going, okay, this is someone at the top of the game, hugely skilled, really entertaining, blah 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 blah. And, I just from then on I was just kind of thinking, oh, this could go anywhere. But I'd love you to do something with that, because it does stick long in the memory, especially with the plastic buttons with the various sound effects, which always doink. Ah, always on hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really they just added so much, and it was like, obviously, Tall Paul and Ian and Ange
And
kind
Jim.
of being involved as well, which was just beautiful. And it sort of was like your improv um history as well, wasn't it? With those other folks
Yeah.
as well.
Just because I hadn't played with obviously play with Ange all the time. Yeah. But yeah, Jess and Ian hadn't really
No,
played with them for a good couple of years, on and off a few times up in Bolton, not Bolton, Wigan,
Wigan, yeah.
um, their something new show, and Paul hadn't played with on since before the pandemic at the last Improvatron, which I think was 2018, Where There's a Will. So that was the last time I played any with any of them. So it was just beautiful, and it was because it was a 42 minutes. It was a nice contained show. It had a definite beginning and an end, and it was just everyone just brought their A game, and there was it just the whole reaction from the audience was amazing. And at the end of it, I felt that good work had been done. So that's yeah, it was fabulous, and yeah, I would love to do it again. Excuse me.
It
Excuse
was
me.
it was just lovely when Paul just walks across the back. He doesn't have to say anything, and you just go, "Oh my God, he's so funny." The pair of you, it's just like the perfect comic foil for each other. It was just brilliant. I absolutely loved it. If you haven't seen that performance, it is on our YouTube site. So if you go into on our webpage, you can take it through. You can look in the archives in 2023 and look for Trev's show called 42. The recording is on there, and it's just joyous, and a work of absolute brilliance from a great team. In terms of the future, where do you see improv moving? Because obviously you've mentioned Mark Meir a couple of times, and we had this conversation a couple of years ago. I now follow Mark quite extensively on various things, and one day, as I promised you, we will try to get him over once we've got some funds. Because every time I see the bits and bobs he's working on, I kind of go, "Oh man, this guy's just
Yeah.
gravy," as per your jumper.
Yeah.
So, do you because obviously it does seem like, well, we had lots of applications from either role play based or LARP based kind of work. There seems to be an emergence of the sort of Mark's original idea
Yeah.
of kind of improvised Dungeons and Dragons. Where do
Yeah.
you see the improv community moving towards? What sort of shows do you think there? It certainly seems like there's a lot more dramatic improv going on, a bit more like trying to make plays that are spontaneously created. There does seem to be a shift in the ether, some way, shape,
Yeah.
or form. Where
Well,
do you think things might head?
I definitely think the gamification of improv is definitely one avenue. The the success of D&D and other role play type games it's just huge. It's phenomenal. There's I think it's an off Broadway show, but I think it might be coming into Broadway called the 20-Sided Tavern, which utilizes improv and songs and all this sort of stuff, and it's getting quite a lot of traction. There's I can think of at least like five or six live improv shows that have role play as in D&D as a cornerstone. Um, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That might get saturated at some point. There might be just people might just get sick of that to a certain extent. But us nerds love improv, and improv loves nerds. In terms of in the wider scope of things, so say film and TV, I think there's always going to be practitioners who will use improv to a certain extent. It didn't really work for me in things like Thor: Love and Thunder, and they've sort of said, that we did go a bit too heavy on the improv side of things. When like the performers there are very skilled performers, Chris Hemsworth and Taika Waititi, they're really good, but sometimes you can lose the woods for the trees. Improv is great, but it needs to be corralled at times if you're talking about film and TV. If you're just letting egos run rampant across a TV set, I don't find it a great watch. The people need to know what they're doing, what the point of their scene is, and achieve that point, and then let's see where it goes. And if
Yeah,
it's great, then put it in the edit. The classic example being The Office, which was, all right, we need this to be done, but you can play within that area. And every now and again, they'll go a bit mad. I think in terms of stage, as long as the shows are crafted with care and intelligence, and people are playing to the top of their game, I think there'll always be a market for an ostentatious, for a showstopper, for things like that. But those sort of shows don't happen overnight. They happen after years and years and years of gigging and training and working with people and getting the rapport and figuring out a concept that regular everyday people will come to see, and that's tricky. So while improv D&D is hitting big, I think that's going to be around for a good long while because it makes money in terms of passion projects where people are saying, "Oh yeah, it's very serious improv based around a regime change in South Africa." It's like, okay, great, you're probably going to do great work, but you might not sell tickets. So it's how do you balance the two? How do you take a commercial idea with the artistic art form of improv, and how do you make it work
Yeah.
that you're A, getting paid at the end of the day, and B, doing good work? So
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of trying to find that it's trying to find where's the opportunity for crossover out of the improv community, but making sure that the work is consistently good, that it doesn't look like improv, basically.
yeah,
Needs to almost look like a fully realized show without knowing it is improvised almost.
unless it's something like Whose Lines It Anyway,
Yeah,
where we say it is improv.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
And
yeah,
obviously we had the tragic news about Tony
yeah,
earlier this week, which was a real shocker.
yeah. He was I had the privilege of playing with him a couple of times, and it was the atmosphere in those first couple of shows was electric, and there were people there who genuinely loved him and wanted to see him do well. Um, and it's just he had so many plans for the future. But it was his body succumbed just as his mind was healing, and it's a shitty situation. You can
Yeah,
bleep that later.
yeah, yeah. No, we came through because we've been in communication about doing future projects and stuff, and it
Yeah.
was like, okay. So it was very
Yeah.
sad, I have to say. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. So after Behold the Improvatron,
Yeah.
any future plans? What have you got in the pipeline after April?
Oh, I always say suck at plans. Uh, Post April, it's as a jobbing actor, I'm just going to keep on seeing if I can get people to hire me to do my silly voices. I do have plans to travel to Prague with this lady because
Oh,
she's been invited to the Prague uh, Fringe Festival. So gonna go over there, be number one fanboy, things like that. If you don't know, that's Nana Funk. Um, yeah, there's no plans. Maybe I'll bring back 42. Only this year it'll be 44. It'll be 45 by the God. I've just jumped 3 years in the conversation in one conversation. Um, who knows? I only ever say watch this space, and my diary fills up a month and a half at a time. So yeah, I don't know is the answer, which I have found to be the beginning of wisdom. It's like, what's this? I don't know. I don't know.
all right, my friend. Well, we'll wrap it up there. That's about a good amount of stuff for people to digest and have a think about, and some great nuggets in there, particularly around, tips for those who are new and coming in, and just care and attention for yourself and others, which I
Mhm.
think is always vital. So, big round of applause, Mr. Trev Fleming. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Can't wait to have you in April. Trev Show is on Thursday, the 25th of April, starting at 7
Right in
p.m.
diary.
on in Unity One. Tickets go live on the 12th of February. Book, come and see him because he is brilliant.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening. Bye.